What's going on, guys? This is the RPO College Football Podcast, your favorite college football podcast. I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones. I got my man Ray Roberts right here. How you doing today, Mr. Ray Roberts?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
I'm great. I'm super excited because we got some breaking news. We got some breaking news. Hopefully this happens. But before we get to the breaking news, we're going to be talking about running back rankings. We're going to talk about a couple of teams and their state of the team before we get to all of that. But before we even get to all that, we want to thank you guys for being in here on our live chat. So if you're in here right now, just know that this is our interactive chat. We love to answer any questions, any things you want. So if you have anything to say, if you don't like our rankings, let us know. Put it in the chat room. Put it right down there. Put it in there and, let us know what you think about everything we're talking about. Our rankings, the breaking news that we got, and just like that. But before we get started, I always like to say, what's going on, Ray? What's up with your life right now?
Super busy at work.
Just
trying to make it through the summer, man. Hopefully the Sixers play well tonight. We'll see what happens.
Woo woo! All right, go Sixers. It's funny because I'm in Atlanta right now, and Atlanta Hawks. Me and these Atlanta Hawks fans been going at it. I'm gonna stop talking because every time I say something, we lose. So, but go Sixers. Trust the process. Best of luck to my guys in Philly. Always repping the Philly area. As you see, I got the Eagles going on. But let's get into some college football, man, and talk some real football stuff that's really exciting. And the breaking news is there is now a 12-team college football proposal. Now, if you guys haven't heard, the NCAA is looking into having 12 teams for the playoffs. This is a big expansion from the 4-team playoff system they have now. So they're really talking about it. The way the format is that they're going to pick the six highest ranked conference champions, and then 6 at large spots. So they're going to take 6 and 6 of the champions, and then 6 teams that have the higher rankings. So this is big news. This is incredible because a lot of, me and Ray been talking about this in a lot of our podcasts as far as they need to expand it. There's always that 1 or 2 teams right outside the top 4s that just need to get a chance to be in the playoffs. I think this is going to be incredible. That's just my personal opinion. Ray, what do you think about this proposal? Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think it's a great proposal, or do you think there's something another way they can possibly propose this, or any kind of rule change that could probably put into this instead of what they just proposed?
I mean, I love what they're talking about doing. I just don't know. I'm a little surprised that they're going from 4 to 12 teams.
That's a huge.
I really thought they would go to like 6 or 8 before that ever happened. To be honest,
I agree.
I mean, if you look at the concept, they're going to take 12 teams and then give the top 4 teams a bye. Kind of makes a lot of sense that way, because you are rewarding the top 4 teams, which is something you probably should do.
Yeah.
But I mean, I hope they do it. I mean, I definitely want more teams in the playoffs. I think 4 is too low of a number. Absolutely too low of a number.
I agree. And just having those top 4 teams, like you said, it still rewards them because they're guaranteed to go to the next round.
Correct.
Where, and there won't be an upset scenario right there because, they're going to the next round. So the first round will be all the teams that would have not been in the playoffs. And then the second round, then your actual current playoff system can start jumping into effect. You play the lower seeds, and then from there you go from there. Oh, sorry about that. My internet is cutting out. But not only that, but you have this. It's not like the NBA or NCAA where, well, not really NCAA because there's that's do or die. But you have the situation where you only can play one game, and if you lose that one game, you can have an off game, and then then you're knocked out of the playoffs. So I think, since it's not that system, only having 4 teams just don't feel right, So you have to expand it. You have to expand the bracket. I agree with I was extremely surprised seeing 12 teams instead of like 6 or 8 teams just to go off the bat. But it makes sense. There's 160 something teams in college football.
Yep.
So give a fair chance. Make it 12 and see how that goes. No holding back. Do 12 teams, go from there, and tweak as you go. But I think it's a great idea, right? What do you think?
No, I really like the idea. I love the whole concept of having 12 teams. Like I said, I'm surprised they're going from 4 to 12, but I think it's a good idea. My thing is, like, I know even with this concept, there are going to be some teams that are going to think that they should be in it and they're not going to be in it. But that's a problem. But at least it gives more teams an opportunity. So
exactly, and it's half of the ranked teams. If you really think about it, it's half of the ranked teams. So I honestly think it's a great idea. We're rewarding the teams that are becoming champions of their conferences, and then the next 6 teams after that, gets playoff spots. So you don't have to worry about just we're gonna have 8 of the 12 teams in the playoffs all coming from the SEC. You got teams that are coming from other conferences, giving them a chance. Because you never know. It's not every given Sunday, but you know the phrase, every given Sunday, every given Saturday for these guys. Like, you never know. One of these teams might, play better that day or might even actually be a better team, So I think it makes it that much more exciting, right?
I agree with you. And the other thing I think it does is it takes away the whole where teams don't go to the bowl game they wanted to go to. So why are they playing for now?
Yeah.
But you're playing for the opportunity to be a playoff team.
That's true. Right. And you just made a good point because all these players opt out for the draft. You might entice some players to stay even longer.
Correct.
Playoffs.
Yes. Now again, that and I don't want to get into this subject, but I talked to some people about this now, is the whole idea that some players should get paid by the colleges as to play football. And I will never be on that side of it. I think that you're getting a college education, and that's more than enough if as long as you take advantage of it. Also, for these guys that want to opt out, if I'm paying you, that's not a choice anymore. You have to play.
That's true. That's true. So yeah, man, I love this. I love this proposal. Hopefully it goes. According to this, it says that they're very far away from this actually happening. I'm trying to find the actual quote here. They clarify that any changes to college football players are a long way from being done, but we definitely see the reports are that 12-team playoffs won't start until 2023 at the earliest. So, hey, that's only 2 years away from me. So, hey, if that happens, then I'm gonna be excited about that no matter what. And I'm just excited that at least it's being talked about. At least it's being talked about. Like they're not just letting it go.
You know what? Honestly, Jerome. Plus, and I'm sure this factored into will factor into the decision. These guys are gonna make a ton of money off of this, man.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Ton of money. Now you're talking about like bowl games and now playoff games, and you're not talking about like 3 or 4 playoff games. Now you're talking about like 12, 14 playoff games, depending on exactly how many teams they expanded by. You're talking about a lot of money, a lot of commercial rights, a lot of people making a lot of money. So, as much as we all love college football, we also understand that it's a business. So,
definitely, 100%. All right, well, that's our breaking news. Again, hopefully that comes to fruition very soon, sooner than later. I'm just glad they're talking about it. But let's get into our next topic, which is the main topic of this is top 10 running backs of the 2021 season. Me and Ray is gonna rank them from 10 to 1. I'm gonna start it off because I want to hear Ray's opinion on what I say. So, starting at number 10, I don't have a 10 and 10 bid this week. I'm doing better. I'm trying not to go too much on Ray's side. Let him take care of that. But at number 10, I'm gonna go with Zamir White, running back from Georgia. I think he's a really good running back. He's gonna be one of those running backs that just go on the line of all the next Georgia running backs. He showed some promise last year. I really like the kid. I think that he's gonna have Georgia as one of the running back line of running backs because he's a really good running back. What do you think about that, Ray?
I like Zamir White. I think he's like you said. I think goes right in line. I actually gave him a comparison of Garrison Hurst. He's that straight line runner, that one cut guy who once he gets into your secondary, he's a player, man. He's very good.
Definitely. All right, who you got at number 10?
I have Zamir White at number 10, man. I just gave you my little write-up I did on him. I made a really good comparison. I like Garrison Hurst as a pro player also. I think this kid is right along the same lines. He's more physical than you think. He's not 4.3 or 4.4 fast, but he's fast enough where once he gets into your secondary, he can knock people over. You don't arm tackle him. I think he's a good football player. And I think if I had to give him a grade for right now, I would say he's like a 3rd-round pick. But I like Zamir White. I think he's a good football player. I don't think he's as physical as people act like he is, but he will not – you can't arm tackle him. You know what I mean? So
correct. No, I agree, Ray. He got great balance, so you can't just arm tackle him. You have to literally pin him to the ground because his balance is really, really good. Let's get to number 9.
Okay.
All right. So number 9, my guy is a guy I simply have a running back crush on him since I seen him last year. This kid, once I seen his name on there, I was like, I can't wait to see him play another year, and I think that he's gonna be really good this year. That would be Letty Brown from West Virginia, number 9. I really like this kid. I think he's gonna be a breakout running back this year. When I see him last year, I was just like, dude, he got a lot of his ceiling is so high that he's still young, so that's why I don't have him too far up my ranking. But I really want to see him do really well this year. Ray, you're smiling really hard. Do you have him at number 9?
I have Letty Brown at number 9, Jerome. Just so everybody knows this, me and Jerome have been talking about this all week. So this is a complete coincidence that we have him at number 9 together.
That's hilarious.
I have him at number 9. I 6 foot, 210, 215. I gave him a Clinton Portis comparison. Nice choppy runner, a guy who can get in your secondary. He's a solid at blitz pickup. He's a good football player. I like Letty Brown.
That is too funny, Ray, that we did that 2 times. And this don't happen that often for us. So for this to happen is just very hilarious. All right. I'm gonna go to number 8 now, Ray. This guy, I haven't seen too much tape on him. I'll be honest. The next 2 guys, I haven't seen a lot of tape on him. But from what I'm hearing, I see some highlights of these guys. I do like them, but I would like to see them in person a little bit more. So number 8 would be Kevin Harris for me. I like him as a running back. I have him a little bit lower in my rankings. These are my rankings, guys. Just because I need to see a little bit more from him. I believe he transferred from Alabama, if I'm not mistaken.
He was on Alabama, I think, 2 years ago.
Yeah, transferred from Alabama. Yeah. Now on South Carolina. So that's my number 8 guy. A guy that I need to see a little bit more from, but from the highlights I've seen, he's a very productive running back. I think that he's going to be good this year, but I just personally need to see him a little bit more. Right?
I had number 8. I have Cameron Peoples from Appalachian State. 6'2", 210, 215, 1,100 yards, a little over 6 yards a carry, 12 touchdowns. A good, great contact to balance runner, a physical playmaker. Of course, Appalachian State is one of the teams that are a lower division team, but they always put out a lot of talent, and this guy follows right in suit. I'm going to give the comparison to everybody. I had Lamar Miller, a nice one-cut guy who has 4.4 speed. Once he gets in your secondary, can make guys miss. Runs a little too upright. I'd rather he get a little bit closer to the ground when he runs. But, again, that's right along the trait of Lamar Miller. Lamar Miller was that guy that wanted to look over the line of scrimmage, see that hole, and get through it. And this kid's the same way. So
Definitely. All right, next guy is the number 7th guy. I have a guy that's in a smaller school, really productive running back. Again, I haven't seen much of him. So I want to personally see him a little bit more. Like, again, I've seen his highlights and things like that. It's Sincere McCormick.
Yeah.
McCormick, sorry. From
UTSA.
Yeah. A school that I don't watch a lot, but I did, look into him. He's a very good runner. Going a couple of years after Aaron Jones went there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're producing some running backs down there, man. And again, a guy that I don't see much because I don't watch that team a lot. But hey, he's getting a lot of draft buzz already. So I wanna definitely see a lot more of him. Right? Who you got, Seven?
I have Tyler Algier from BYU. 5'11", 220, sophomore, good football player. Scored 13 touchdowns last year. Actually scored 14 because he's caught 1-2 out of the backfield. Good football player. I gave him a comparison of Dorsey Levens, former Eagle and Packer. I think a good football player. Again, a guy who runs with good balance, can catch the ball out of the backfield a little bit. Nice athlete. I like Tyler Algier. I don't think there's a lot of top-end running backs in this draft like there has been the last couple of years, but I see a lot of guys that can do a lot of different things. So, again, I think it's one of them years where if you don't get – I think the first 2 guys, maybe even the first 3 are probably going to be could be guys that can carry the ball, say, 200 times a year. But I think what you're going to see is after that, or even if you get one of these first guys, you might want to get somebody else a little later on to mix into your backfield. So
I agree. All right, let's get to our number 6 guy. So this guy, I knocked him down. I think a lot of people have him a lot higher. I've knocked him down a couple of spots because this offense is going to be passing. It's just going to be a passing offense. And that's going to be Kenny Brooks from Oklahoma. They're going to be passing. Laken Riley is going to be wanting to pass, so he's not going to get as many running opportunities, but I really do think he's a good running back. I just think he's not going to get as many opportunities as he wants. His carry is probably going to be similar to why am I blanking his name? He's on my team.
On the Eagles?
Yes. Not the same player, but I'm talking about production as far as the offense goes. Miles Sanders, I'm sorry. There you go.
Okay.
It's going to be similar. I think his carry is going to be similar to how Miles Sanders is. He's probably going to get only 20 rushes a game, if that, because they're going to be passing all the time. What do you think about him, Ray?
I like Kennedy Brooks. I had him actually at number 11. I think that, like you said, I didn't put him as high because I don't think the production has been there. It is Oklahoma, so they do throw the ball a lot. I think he's a good football player, though. I think he's another guy where if you mix in as a complimentary type guy, he could play. So
I agree. All right, Ray, who you got at 6?
I have Sincere McCormick at number 6. Again, kid had almost 1,500 yards last year, man.
Yeah.
And I gave him again, we're rating college players. I gave him Myles Gaskin's comparison, who plays for Miami now, played for at Washington. A guy who's going to be a change of pace type guy, but a guy who can develop once he gets a little bit stronger. As I think a guy who could give you some stuff on first and second down. So,
Nice. All right, let's get to number 5. Number 5, I'm gonna have Isaiah Spiller right here. Not because he's not a really good running back. I could have had him 2, 3, or 4, honestly. But I have some guys that I have man crush on in the next 4 spots. And then obviously the clear number 1 guy. So Isaiah Spiller from Texas A&M, really good running back. I think that he's definitely have a chance to get drafted really high. I would say like maybe 3rd round. And when we say 3rd round, guys, don't think that's bad because running backs don't get drafted high like that anymore. 3rd round running backs are still really good running backs. So don't get me wrong with that. But I just think that I just have a man crush on my next few guys, right?
People need to understand, for one, the running back position is an undervalued position to begin with.
Yeah.
And most good running backs are taken in the 2nd and 3rd rounds.
Agree. I think Kamara was what, 3rd, 4th
round? Yeah.
3rd round? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can definitely get talent in that round. Ray, who you have at 5?
I have Kevin Harris at number 5 from South Carolina. I know you talked to him like three players ago. Mm-hmm. I think his production is there. I think he's a plus ball carry. He averaged over 6 yards a carry. He scored 15 touchdowns on the ground. Good football player. Caught 21 balls too. I actually gave him a Deuce Staley comparison. I think he's a good football player, and his contact balance is solid, and he has some nice ability, good hands out of the backfield. So,
Ray, you like comparing these running backs to the Eagles running backs, huh?
I kind of like. I don't know. I was watching film on all of these guys for like 2 days straight, and there's just certain things about them I see like all of them. I'll see a trait that reminds me of a player. So the first thing I do is jot down who that player is before I forget.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so.
No, I got you. All right, let's get to number 4. So my number 4 guy is my personal favorite running back. Ray probably already know who the heck I'm about to talk about. I've been watching it like all last year, his freshman year. I was amazed by this kid. I hope that he takes his game to the next level because he can catch the ball, he can run the ball. Little shorter guy in a little bit of a smaller school, but K-State's running back, Deuce Vaughn. I absolutely love this guy. I mean, I'm not, I'm a little over biased with this one, just a little bit. Just a little bit. But, dude, like, watching him from his freshman year, I really think he's a really good running back. I absolutely love this guy. I had him in my top 5 no matter what. And I think he can catch, he can run, he can play special teams. And he's a little tough guy. Like, just because he's small, don't mean he's not. He's a tough little guy. So I like him. They might be splitting his carries a little bit this year. That's my only concern. Might be splitting his carries because they did last year. But I think he can take the number 1 running back spot.
I do, but I don't. I had him at 12, Jerome. I don't have him in my top 10. I just think that, like you said, they didn't give him a lot of carries last year.
Yeah.
The team struggled a little bit. And I didn't have him in my top 10. The production wasn't there for me. But I do think that at the next level, he's going to be like a 3rd down type of back. Darren Sproles comes to mind as soon as I see him play.
Yeah. It's kind of hard not to. Went to the same school, but
I mean, they're about both like 5'5", 5'6". Yeah. They're explosive when they get the balls in their hands. The problem is sometimes how are you going to get the ball in his hands? Because
that's true.
I like him. I do, again, but I think he's more of a change of a pace type guy where I think most of the guys I have in my top 10 are like more first and second down carries where I think Vaughn would come in the 3rd down as a 3rd down back, especially right off the bat. So
yeah. And again, we're doing this off of college football, so that's why I didn't take into consideration what the NFL probably used for him because I'm trying to think straight college football, and I think that they're gonna trust him a little bit more now. He was a freshman last year, played really well. He's gonna have the confidence now to really, really play like, hey, this is my position now. and you can use him in so many different ways. And he was electric last year, right? I fell in love with the kid watching him, and I don't know why. I was watching a lot of K-State last year. I don't know why. It was on TV a lot. So, but yeah, I'm very excited.
That's why they're on TV, because they always score points. So, you know.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. All right, Ray, who's your number 4 guy?
I have Muhammad Abrams from Minnesota. I think, again, this kid's a first and second down carrier, average over 5 yards a carry, 15 touchdowns, good one-cut type runner. Gave him a Marion Barber comparison, which shocking. They both went to Minnesota. They're both Minnesota guys. So I just think that the only thing I don't like about him is he only caught 8 balls, which means he probably just caught screen passes. So that is one thing but I think he's a guy who can handle the ball between 175 and 225 times a year. I think Abrams, I think he's really good, but I don't think any of these guys, except for my top 2, are guys that can do anything on 3 downs. So
definitely. Right. I think I made a mistake because when you say his name, I was like, how's he not on my list? I don't have him on my list, right? I don't know what happened.
Okay.
I must have. Yeah, he's supposed to be on the list. Make him my 10B then, since I missed him.
I got you.
He's definitely not a 10. I don't know what happened with that one, right? I missed him somehow.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, he looked good against the Michigan. So.
Oh yeah, I remember. Well, that's where his name. I watched the highlights of him against Michigan, and I know Michigan's defense wasn't great last year, but their defense was better than their offense. So you know.
Yeah, and he played well.
Yeah, he did. He's a good player.
Definitely. All right, number 3. My number 3 guy is another young running back that I fell in love with this year. And it's a little bit more justifiable, and he's going to be the number 1 back, Mr. Bijan Robinson. I think that's it. Bijan
Robinson, yes.
There you go. Bijan Robinson from Texas. Texas lost their starting quarterback. They're going to lean heavy on the running game. He's going to be a big part of that running game. I think he's going to have a great year. He could be number 2. I could split 2 and 3 just like that, just because I really think Bijan, he got speed on him. This guy got breakaway speed. He's strong. He sees the hole very well. Again, freshman guy, but he played very, very, very well last year, and I'm just waiting to see him in his second year. Right? Who you got 3? Or first of all, what do you think about my placement of him?
I like Bijan Robinson. Again, his production wasn't great last year. It was okay. Yeah. But I always kind of root for Texas to be good, because when I was a kid, Texas was always good. So, you know. But last year he only ran for 703 yards, but he did average 8 yards a carry. So, I mean, I like him. I didn't have him in my top 10, though.
Wow.
I don't have him in my top 10.
I'm surprised by that. All right, well, who you got at number 3 then?
I have Isaiah Spiller, Texas A&M.
Okay.
Again, I think that he is going to be – you said he'll be taken in the 3rd round. To me, that's where second round is where the NFL draft starts with running back. So the fact that he's going to be a 3rd round pick, I think that's good. I have seen mock drafts that have him as a first running back taken. I don't agree with that, but I think he's a good football player. So I gave him, for everybody who likes my comparisons, I compare him to Jay Ajayi from Miami. He's a State running back who's very physical, has high knee step, good football player. You know, and I know people know, Jay Ajayi wasn't that good. No, Jay Ajayi was really good.
Oh yeah. Jay Ajayi is really good. Don't disrespect him.
Except for the fact that he had really bad chronic knees. He was a good football player.
Oh yeah, he definitely was. He was a little slow. I remember that.
Well, he was physical though.
He was definitely.
You cannot arm tackle Jay Ajayi, and he was versatile. He could catch the ball. Correct. I think Isaiah Spiller can catch the ball a little bit. I think the comparison is good. I just think, again, people, you're an Eagles fan. When they got Jay Ajayi, that took the Eagles offense to another level. It It really did. It made a little bit like a running back crew that didn't have a lot of depth. All of a sudden now they were pretty deep. So
correct.
I like Jay Jolly.
That was a great signing. You know, it was a shame that he was injured so much. He was injured in Miami too. So we kind of knew that coming in that he was going to have to share carries, which he did very, very well and helped us get that championship. So
absolutely,
I don't think we would have got the championship without that added piece to it as well. So, Jacob, thank you for being in the chat room. We appreciate you checking us out each and every week, my guy. He says, "Good on you, Ray. Sincere might have Jared Patterson type of season this year." Which again, I don't understand why Jared Patterson didn't get drafted. But that's for another discussion. But Ray, he likes your pick with Sincere.
Yeah, I like Sincere a lot. Again, I think this is a nice group of running backs. I don't see anybody. Well, we're going to get to my top two. I think my top two are probably obviously I think they're the best. They're the guys that could probably handle 200 carries a year and do something in the passing game to help you out. I think we kind of know who the next two are going to be. At least I think I do. I know on my end, I think we're going to have the next two are going to be the same player, I think, or the same players, but I'm not 100% about that.
I think we are, but we'll see.
Again, I just think like after you get from even if before I get into my top two, even if you were to take one of my top two, you might want to get somebody to back them up because these guys are going to be good, but you don't want any running back carrying the ball 250 times anymore. I mean, it's just not the game anymore.
Exactly. You know? Exactly. And to get into that, I'll start off, Ray. It's going to be your guy, Karen Williams from Notre Dame. I love this kid, and I don't like Notre Dame. I'm not a Notre Dame fan. I'm a Michigan fan. I mean,
everybody's a Notre Dame fan, Jerome.
No, I'm not. Stop it. But I really like this kid. This kid is really good. He got a lot of speed, toughness, great balance. And I watching him last year, I feel like they should have ran him a little bit more than they did. He was running really well, but they probably should have given him the ball a little bit more, especially with Book being back there, right? Let me know. Who's your number two guy?
It's Kyron Williams.
All right.
I mean, cool. I could flip 1 and 2, and I some days he's not, some days he is. But I love Kyron Williams. I don't know if Notre Dame gave him the ball pretty much, and he actually caught 35 balls for over 300 yards too.
Yeah,
he's a good football player, man. He really is. Kyron Williams is a stud of a player. I think he can come in right off the bat and do you some things on all 3 downs, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you want to space it out because you don't want to kill any of the running backs in today's game. But I think Kyron Williams is really good, and I think if you get it, I gave him a Le'Veon Bell comparison.
Yeah,
I think you can do good patient runner, great contact to balance, good hands. I mean, I love Kyron Williams. I most of my mock, and believe it or not, I've done a couple of mock drafts already. Shocking. I have Miami taking him with their first pick. I always have him trading back out of the first round, and then early in the second round, then I take him right away because the last 2 years, Miami has waited on the running back position. We've got line address now. We've got some linebacker depth. We could use another linebacker maybe in this year's draft. I want a running back.
It's time. It's time for your good one. It really is time for your good one.
Yep.
All right, let's get to our number one guy. Everybody knows this. Jacob, you don't have to quit because we're both going to have Breece Hall, number one consistent running back. I think he's Kyron Williams and some. He's definitely. I can't see anybody beat him out this year. You never know, though. You never know. But he's my number one guy. What do you think about Breece Hall, Ray?
I think he's a great player, man. I gave him a Curtis Martin comparison. Great slashing type running back. Good, solid hands. Can do everything. Solid blocker. I love Breece Hall. Like I said, I think the first 2 backs I really like are as 3 down guys. He can do a little bit of everything. Can block in the passing game. Can do some things catching the ball. Breece Hall's contact, the balance, man, the way he slashes through the hole, he's a stud, man. And again, if I took a running back in the first round, it would probably be Breece Hall, because I think, again, if you're a team at the end of the first round and you need a running back, you better take him, because if you wait till the end of the second round, you're not going to get one of these two guys. So,
nope, not at all. Yeah, these guys are the cream of the crop. They're 1 and 2. Like I said, I think that everybody else on this list, I think, are really good running backs. But Breece Hall is on a different level than all of them, and I think he's the only one that can possibly be that running back that can get at the end of the first round. Honestly,
yeah, I think he's a guy that can come in and handle. I mean, of course, you got to see what his muscle mass is like, but he looks like the kind of guy that can carry the ball 250 times in a season and give you really good production out of it. So,
I agree. Well, that's on running back rankings, guys. Let us know what you think. Even if you're not watching us live, you put it in the chat room what you think about our rankings. You might hate mine a little bit. It's my favorite guys. I got a couple of my favorite guys in there, so who cares? But let's get to our last segment real quick, Ray, and we're probably only going to do a couple of these teams. But it is the state of the program. So we did this. We launched this first time last week. So if you haven't seen, we talked about some good teams last week. We're going to talk about a couple of extra ones today, and just talk about what we think about the team. So we're not doing records. We're not doing, wins or losses. But we're just going to see if they're going to be better than last year based on, returning players, based on, players in their second year that might get better based on, their schedule, see how, who they're playing. So the first team we're going to talk about is Penn State. So Penn State last year had a rough one. I believe they started off 0-4, if I'm not mistaken. They did finish the season very strong, and was 4-5, but they were really struggling. Their offense was ranked 38 in the country. Their defense was ranked 17, so the defense was still okay. Well, I'll say it's pretty good still, but the teams that they play this year are Wisconsin, Ball State, Auburn, Villanova, Indiana, Iowa, Illinois, Ohio State, Maryland, Michigan, Rutgers, and Michigan State. So, Ray, over and under, will they be better than 4-5 this upcoming season?
They will be better than 4-5. I'm not saying maybe 6 wins.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sean Clifford stinks. I mean, I hate saying that about college football players, but he's really bad until they make a move at quarterback. I think the rest of their roster is solid. I think they're going to miss the linebacker, Parson from last year. He was probably their best player on defense last year. But I think they're going to be okay. They'll definitely be better than 4-5, though.
Definitely. Jacob, you did miss the list. I believe, Ray, did you have him on your list?
I did not.
We both didn't. Sorry, man. But you can listen to our list and agree or disagree with who we had in front of him.
Well, that's a good thing about our list.
It's ours. Definitely. Hey, man, it's all opinions. You never know how this season's going to go, man. A couple of years ago.
Honest with you, Jerome, I kind of I watched tape on all the guys I have in my top 10, and I watched tape on another 15 players.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just the top 10 that I picked. I watched game film, and these were the guys that had production last year who I think will be as productive or more productive this year. That's all.
I agree. Yeah. And, a couple of years ago, a lot of people would have thought that the running back that got drafted by the Panthers, what's his name? I'm blanking on his name. From Oklahoma State. Hey, help me out. What's his name?
What are you talking about? Carolina Oklahoma State. Oh God, man.
I'm gonna have to look at it.
Yeah, well, again, he should have came out 2 years ago, but we've already discussed that. Yeah,
Chuba Herbert.
Chuba Herbert. Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, he was like the clear running back like 2 years ago, like you're saying. Things happen. Thank you.
I think honestly, I think the people would have saw that he is not as physical as he needs to be an every down back in the NFL. But I think that if you put him in the right system as a one cut type running back, he'll probably be pretty productive. But you do see a guy who doesn't have great contact balance, that does need to get in your secondary. So I think teams would have saw his deficiencies. But the fact that it was glaring, and I don't care what anybody says, you're coming off a 2,000-yard game. Here's what people don't understand. They're not only going to judge you on the production, they're not. But your game film from a 2,000-yard season is going to be better than your game film from a 1,100-yard season. And that's really the biggest difference to me.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's a lot to live up to. That really is. So yeah. But yeah, let's get back to Penn State.
One more message to running backs: when you have a big year, come out. God.
I agree. Less wear and tear on you. Come out early. Your projection is going to be better.
Again, your game film is going to be good because you had a great season. You get your career started, man. Because you only have 5 or 6 or 7 years to make money anyway. Make money, guys.
I agree. All right, let's get back to the Penn State. So they lost Journey Brown, I believe, it was a heart condition, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So he's retired. Really good running back. That stinks. They do have Novocaine, a guy that I personally think he's going to be a really good running back. But he coming off of injuries, so we'll see how that goes. I do think they're going to be a better team.
They have Devin Ford at running back, who I kind of like as a guy who's a pretty good, solid football player. They have John Dotson, a wide receiver. I like their roster. I worry about their offensive line. It's kind of young, but we'll see.
We'll definitely see. I mean, again, I don't think they're going to be worse than they were last year.
They won't. They're not going to start
on John Lovett transferring to Penn State. Don't know too much about him, to be honest.
No, he's a football player. I like John Lovett. He's very good. Again, you can't hide the fact that their offensive line is not great and their defense is just okay. So
definitely. But yeah, I can't see them only winning what was it, 4 games they had?
They're going to win more than 4 games. They're not going to start out 0-4 again. I mean, for sure. They're going to beat Ball State. They're going to beat Villanova. That's 2 wins right there. So
I just think that it was just a rough year because of COVID for them. COVID hit the team differently. I mean,
and I don't think Indiana. I think they kind of snuck up on people, and people didn't expect them to be as good as they were. So that was a little surprising. Until after you see how well they played, their offense was really good. And their defense is pretty good. But again, if you look at Penn State's schedule last year, at the beginning of the year, was not easy. You thought the one game that would be fairly easy would be the Indiana game, and it just didn't turn out that way.
Yeah, and that was the game, that dive in the end zone thing that was very controversial.
It was,
but I'm not going to discredit Penn State for that or any team for that, but there was a bad call. It was a bad call. So let's get to our next team. I think this might be the last team that we're talking about today, which would be FSU, the Seminoles. This team has been disappointing us for a couple of years now, right? I actually thought they were going to have a better year than they did. They were only 3-6 last year. They were ranked 64th in offense and 109th on defense, right? So here are the teams they're going to be playing this year. They are going to be playing number 1, your team, Notre Dame.
Yep.
Then they play Jacksonville State.
Yep.
Wake Forest, Louisville, Syracuse, UNC, UMass, Clemson, NC State, Maryland, Boston State, and Florida. Ray, better or worse?
Of what was their record last year?
They were 3-6. Yeah, 3-6.
2, 3, 4. They'll be better than that. I still don't see them being much better than 5-6, though.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna. They might not hit 500, right?
No, I mean they have Mackenzie Milton, the quarterback, who I like. He's a solid player. Jashawn Corbin, running back, is a sophomore, is not a bad player. Again, and they have a pretty solid offensive line. It's their defense that they just don't play. They don't play. It's not even they don't have talent. They do. They don't play smart. That's all.
I agree. It just very sloppy play. Like you said, they got the quarterback that's really good. I don't know about this team, right? I can't trust this team. I mean, they got one of our guys, Corey Warren, on their team. A guy that we interviewed when he was in high school. Hope the best for him. It's going to be his sophomore year, so we'll see how he does. A couple of solid receivers, but this team, especially on defense, man, they've been a letdown. And I think their offense suffered last year because of their defense, right?
And even with their defense, Jerome, it's not that they don't have some decent players. They do.
They
don't play good football. They don't play good situational football.
Yeah, it's like they can't. It's not clicking for some reason with this team, and they get good recruits. It's not it's just not clicking, right? And it's been like this for 3 years now, maybe even more than that.
Well, I like Robert Cooper, who's a defensive lineman for them. I like Amari Gaynor. I like Emmett Rice. I like Jarvin Brownlee. I like Renato Green. I like them as players. I don't like how their defense plays with them players. It's kind of like Michigan last year, Michigan's offense. They didn't what they did on offense didn't suit what the players should be doing. Same thing in Florida State with their defense. They have some good recruits, but you don't see them play good, sound football. So
I agree. And Jacob says, watch out for Lawrence Toffoli.
Yeah.
Breakout.
Again, good football player. I got to see him do it again this year. That's all.
It's a team, though. It's just how can you trust this team? And then again, the schedule itself is just the first game, Notre Dame. You really think they're gonna beat Notre Dame? They got a team like Louisville that can stand up to them. I think that's probably a comparable team to them. Then they play North Carolina, they play Clemson. They're not beating Miami this year. Boston State's better than them. Florida's better than them. NC State might give them trouble. It's just there's only a handful of teams that you're all right, they can definitely beat this team, and it don't be on the edge really.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that they have some nice players, and I like Toad Philly, who Jacob was talking about. The problem with him is he needs to get stronger and show that he can be a little bit more durable and really, really reach his potential. And honestly, what have we seen from Florida State that tells us that's going to happen this year?
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, they still have the same coach. If I'm not, it's not Fisher, right?
No, it's Mike Norvell.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes.
Let's face it, Mike Norvell was 3-6 last year. And again, did that do anything to make you feel confident about them? No.
Definitely. Jacob said the top end of the ACC is absolutely stacked. I agree with that. The ACC is a good conference, but each team kind of have some kind of questions because you got UNC that have lost a lot of weapons, like almost all their weapons. Then you got Clemson with a younger a new quarterback, and who I personally love. I think DJ Otulele.
Yeah.
Gonna get the name. I think he's gonna be a really good quarterback, and he might even be in Heisman consideration. We'll see. But after that, it's just like a lot of questions with the rest of the teams too. So we'll see. I mean, this is gonna be a fun year for ACC team. Ray, real quick before we end the podcast, although Notre Dame is still independent, as we all know, they're gonna be playing mostly in the ACC again this year.
A lot of their schedule is ACC. It is ACC top heavy. It has to be, because even though they're not in a conference, there are some, because they are in the ACC in basketball. There are going to be them teams they want to play. And honestly, here's what was something we should have covered with the playoffs earlier. That could be something that makes Notre Dame think about getting into the SEC full time, because it may be easier to get into the tournament if you're associated to a conference as opposed to being independent.
That is true. Wow, Ray, that's a good point. Because if they do pass that, there are 6 teams that from each conference is going to get in. So they're going to be the outside 6 teams.
And I mean, and we know that TV people want Notre Dame in, but there are a lot of other people that don't. And if you give teams these other teams the option of voting Notre Dame out, they may just go ahead and do it. But if you're in the ACC and you're one of the top 2 teams and you're competing with Clemson, they may not have a choice but to throw you in there.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't even think about that, Ray. That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. But, guys, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you all for checking us out. Shout out to Jacob for being in the chat room. And, guys, if you're watching this later, like I always say, please go on to our YouTube channel and comment. You can go on our Facebook as well or on Twitter and check us out. Our videos will be posted on there as well. You can still comment on them. But definitely try to do our on YouTube, because we'll comment back on it much faster. If you are not already subscribed on there, please do that. Like and subscribe to that and put on the notification so when we are live, you can come in and have your comments on our screen, and we can talk to you directly live on our podcast as well. Also, make sure you check us out on all our podcast platforms on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. A lot of players that we talk about, we interview a lot of them, and we have a lot of players lined up for this year that we're going to be talking about. So, or interviewing rather. So please go check that out. Inside the Hashes, just search Inside the Hashes, and definitely check out our website where you can find all our content, all our gaming, all our podcasts, all our interviews. Fantasy football is coming up soon. You know, I'm sure Ray's going to be in that again to redeem himself. But yeah, that's coming soon. So guys, please make sure that you check that out, all that out as well. And that's going to do it for us today, guys. We are super excited about the season coming up, and we hope that you are too. We can't wait to really get into this. But next week, we're going to talk about wide receivers. We're going to dive into some teams again. So make sure you come back. Check us out Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Please do that. So I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones. We got Ray Roberts in the building. Guys, thank y'all so much for checking us out, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.